We are live recapping Penn State's victory over Auburn, probably the most stressful 8-point victory we will ever experience as fans. Coming to you from Black Shoe Diaries, I am Marty Lee, back with you again this week, returning from his week 1 appearance. It is once again Ellie Moretta Feliz. I know we talked a little bit off screen about this, but how are you feeling? Have you calmed down? Has the heart rate died down yet? Because I know for me, it's still pumping a little bit.
I don't believe my heart rate is going to go down until at least 3 a.m. Sunday morning. So, dude, I don't think I'm sleeping tonight.
No, I feel you. I just hope that whenever my dog wakes up he usually wakes up around 6:15, needs to go to the bathroom. I just hope by then I can let him out and just kind of let out the big sigh of relief when I'm on the back porch watching him prance through the yard tomorrow morning. I'm like, you know what? Penn State did hang on. Penn State did beat that big, mighty, bad SEC team that we were told all week Penn State couldn't handle their speed, and Auburn's seen many of atmospheres like the whiteout, and we will get to that. But to kick things off tonight, I think it would be a shame to not start this show talking about Sean Clifford. I personally have been as critical as anybody of Sean Clifford the last 3 seasons, but I have to admit that tonight may have been the best game of Sean Clifford's career at Penn State. Without the play of Sean Clifford tonight, there is no chance Penn State wins this game. He finished 20 out of 32, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, that one interception, but that interception also came at the end of the half on a play where Clifford got walloped and was trying to throw one up for the end zone. So you kind of throw that out the window. Probably the best game, like I said, very possibly the best game Clifford has played in his Penn State career. Excuse me. We'll start with that. What are your interpretations of how Sean played tonight?
I think from our conversations in private, right, you know that I am a big Sean Clifford supporter. I supported Sean Clifford all throughout last season. Based on what's happening this season, I rightfully blame the coaching on how Clifford was playing on the field. And you're starting to see how that may have had more of an effect than we probably gave it credit for. 3 games now. We're gonna assume that Ball State doesn't count for now. But 2 big games, one on the road against a very stout defense in Wisconsin, one at home against their fans would say much more, but a decent team in Auburn, right? Auburn is probably not going to be a bad team this year. And it's not like Gus Malzahn left the cupboard bare when they fired him. There are athletes. And again, Sean Clifford delivered. And you can't take that away from him, 1. And 2, I think the doubts that people may have had coming into the season are slowly but surely started to be turned into beliefs. And we'll see what happens, right? Penn State still has Iowa on the road, Ohio State on the road, Michigan State suddenly looks good, which is also on the road. Michigan suddenly looks good. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities for us fans to see how this offense progresses. But through 3 games, there is no denying that the Sean Clifford of 2021 is more reminiscent of the Sean Clifford of 2019. And I would argue he's a lot better than even the 2019 version of Sean Clifford.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely the best Sean Clifford has looked in his entire Penn State career thus far. I think Mike Yurcich definitely deserves a lot of credit for this. I mean, I know last year, whenever Yurcich was hired, a lot of Penn State fans you and I included, were very excited about that hire. You look at a guy who's widely considered one of the top probably 5 to 8, not just offensive coordinators, but quarterback coaches in the country. And the thing with Sean is the talent's never been the question mark. The kid's got the arm to make all the throws. We've seen him make many a big boy throw over the years that a lot of quarterbacks can't make. With Sean, it's been the footwork. It's been going through the progressions. And that was one thing tonight I thought he did really well. There were multiple plays in this game, especially early on, which kind of helps set the tempo for this offense, where I feel like the old Sean Clifford tucks that ball, runs, gets 3 yards, and calls it a day. But there was a third down early in the game where he rolled out, did not tuck the ball, gave his receivers the chance to come back to him and get open, and he hits Keandre Lambert-Smith for first down. Later in that drive, inside the 10-yard line, does the same thing, gives his receivers a chance to get open, finds a wide-open Jahan Dotson in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Those are plays that before the season, Sean Clifford does not make. 2019, Sean Clifford doesn't make them, and 2020, Sean Clifford certainly doesn't make them. And I think as a Penn State fan, I know me personally, one thing I'm very optimistic about the rest of the season is Clifford now has faced 2 legitimate, probably top 20 defenses in the country in Wisconsin and Auburn. And yes, Ball State's Ball State. But as Tim and I touched on in the recap show last week, they're the defending MAC champions and brought almost their entire team back. They're no slouch. Like Ball State's probably going to win 6, 7, 8 games this year, and Cliff tore them up. There is a lot of reasons right now to be optimistic about Sean Clifford, be optimistic about this Penn State offense. And I really do think moving forward, you've got to feel good about Clifford. You've got to feel good about this offense. You've got Villanova coming up. You've got Indiana, who all of a sudden does not look intimidating. And I feel very confident saying after last year, Penn State is going to be extremely motivated against Indiana. So you've got 2 weeks to get your offense really humming before you go to Kinnick Stadium. And yeah, I think right now it's difficult to not be bullish on this Penn State offense moving forward due to a combination of what we've seen so far, the playmakers we know they have, and what you expect to get out of Mike Yurcich.
And on that point, right, because Sean Clifford is making good decisions, it allows the athletes on the offense to make good plays. Last year, because Clifford was not making good decisions, those guys did not have opportunities to make plays, and it only exacerbated an already tough situation with not having an offseason to actually prepare, not having a ways to communicate with each other, having an offensive coordinator that wants to play a completely different style of what even James Franklin wants to play. And we'll talk about that decision maybe at some other time. But now you have a coordinator that knows how to use Clifford, so he puts him in the right situations. Once Clifford is in those situations, if things don't go exactly as scripted, he has a way to get out of whatever sticky situation he may be in and makes a good play. And then you have receivers like Jahan Dotson and Parker Washington, who basically are catching anything thrown at them. All Clifford has to do is protect the ball. And as you said, the only interception of the game, the only turnover of the season, is on basically a throwaway play, which, it'll count in the stat sheet, but we all know that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and even that interception at the end of the half that he did throw, if he doesn't get pummeled by the Auburn defender, there's a real possibility that Lambert-Smith set
a touchdown.
End over touchdown. Yeah, if he has half a second more, maybe a quarter of a second more, that's a touchdown pass. And even as Penn State, you can't hate that there because you put Auburn in a position they took over at their own, I think it was 2-yard line, something like that. And yeah, I thought James Franklin coached a terrific game tonight, especially as we will get into shortly, the officiating that he had to deal with. But I think my only complaint with James tonight is I would have liked to see when Auburn nailed that ball, you had to, I think, 2 timeouts. I know they had at least 1 timeout, maybe 2. Call a timeout and try and force them to nail it again from the 1. And if they did, they had 2, like you said, call another one. Like, try and sneak your way into an easy safety there. But, I mean, ultimately, it's a moot point. It didn't matter. Penn State won the game. But, yeah, that was not the worst interception in the world for Clifford to throw. So, it's I'm sure somehow, some way, because it's what we do as human beings and especially sports fans, someone will find a way to ridicule the game Sean Clifford had tonight. But listen, as Ellie can attest to from some of the things I have complained about in our Black Sheet Diary Slack channels over the years, if I have nothing negative to say about Sean Clifford, there is nothing negative to be said. The dude balled out tonight. I don't know if they finished this way. I know at one point he was 11 for 11 in the second half. And the only incompletion I remember him throwing after that was a pass on which Auburn got called for pass interference. So didn't actually count as incompletion. Just Cliff was awesome. And you got to give him a lot of credit, not just for that, but also he's a great team leader. And he really, I felt, kind of helped at some of the times when the officiating, as again, we will get into it momentarily, was a just disaster. You lean on your team leaders to keep the team from getting frustrated, keep things coming unraveled, and Sean did that tonight for the Nittany Lions.